Welcome to the Exec Hub podcast, where we learn and hear from business owners and executives. Today we have with us Scott McGlon. He is the president of McGlon Properties, and he has successfully launched 9 different businesses. And he's also the entrepreneur in residence at Auburn University, where he gets to coach and be a business mentor and advisor to students and graduate students. Scott, I'm glad to have you on today. How's your week been going?
It's been great. Thanks you so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us, I know you've launched 9 different businesses in a variety of industries. Can you tell me a little bit about these businesses and the industries they're in?
Sure. Like you said, I've had 9 businesses in 6 different industries. That's ranged from transportation, where I had 3 businesses in transportation, e-commerce, retail, textile manufacturing, automotive, and of course real estate, which is the ones that I still manage today under McGlon Properties. Hired about over 400 employees and generated over 110 million in sales. So they call me the startup junkie.
I love it.
And I literally have been blessed from one business to the next. Opportunities came knocking on my door, and that's how I really got started on each one of them. It wasn't really a plan as far as regarding, hey, I'm going to have 9 businesses, or be in 6 different industries. That's something that I certainly didn't plan for, but that was God's plan.
That's awesome. And I feel like I always hear people say 9 out of 10 startups don't even make it. So why do you think you've had so many be successful? I know you said you started 9, most have pretty much all been successful. What are your thoughts on that?
Success is kind of a sneaky animal. There's a lot of things that have to go and work out and be in place for it to be successful. A lot of it is the people I surrounded myself with, and that was a true blessing. As far as some of the people that I hired and how I hired them really were the pinnacle or the nucleus of my success. Also, I bootstrapped every one of my companies. That was an adventure in itself, and the success of one, my first business, Integrated Transport Logistics, literally carried the next 2 businesses that I opened up, and along with my bride's career, my wonderful wife, she, bless her heart, we rode on her coattails for quite a bit as well. And that gave us the ability to reinvest, which was really, really good. There's 3 pillars of, bootstrapping a business, and that's, of course, savings, got to have revenue, of course, and then reinvestment. And we were able to save and as well as reinvest in our businesses because of her.
That's great. Y'all are a power couple working together.
Yeah, that's right.
What would you say is one of the most valuable things you learned over the years that you'd like to share with other business owners?
The best thing that I could ever share is get a mentor. Getting a mentor and a coach is one of the things that really didn't open up my eyes until I was in my 50s. And I look back, and that's the one thing, the pretty critical missing element that I missed out on. And now being a mentor and a coach for all the early stage startups that I do today and see the impact that I have, it's just unbelievable. Not only an unbelievable feeling, but just seeing their success through my eyes has really lit my last chapter in business to a great deal. So you've got to embrace failure. I would say it'd be the last one. Failure is a key ingredient towards success. Fail early and fail fast, not really a big believer in that, but failure is going to come your way, and you got to be able to be prepared for it. It's a thing that that a lot of people talk about and a lot of people worry about, but yeah, you got to take it head on, and that's the best thing to do.
That's good. And yeah, mentors are very valuable to have. I'm always seeking them out and asking advice. And I love what you're doing at Auburn. So tell me, how have you been able to build a strong team and scale so many businesses that were bootstrapped? As a startup company, there's limited resources. So what advice would you give on how to scale and grow?
Well, first and foremost, a great team is much greater than a great idea. So I put a lot of emphasis on building the team around me that could actually understand my vision and execution strategies. Building a team is first and foremost. It's not just bodies in, bodies out. You hire slow and fire fast. And that is extremely important as an entrepreneur. You can't not hang on to dead weight. And I know that sounds kind of cold and callous, but at the same time, it's your business. And you've got to really absolutely take care of it the best of your abilities. So first and foremost is you are who you hire. And that's pretty much the bottom line to that.
That's good. That's helpful. And at what point should you raise the price of your product or service? And how can you ensure that you're really hitting that right price point as a business?
Great question. I love this question a lot. And when I'm asked, especially by the students that I work with, first and foremost is when you're overwhelmed with demand. Demand can drive pricing. Of course, as your cost increases would be number two. A lot of people look at their overall pricing strategies and don't take a lot into account when it comes to the actual bottom line cost of goods sold, and you just can't do that. Of course, when the competitors, being number three, your competitors raise prices, then it's a good time for you to look at your own prices. And number four would be something around the new improvements and the new innovations that you bring to the table for your own products and services can drive a price increase or decrease. You have version 2.0 come out. That's a great time to look at pricing. And the last one, number five, would be, it's kind of interesting, but it's when your customers tell you to. I'll never forget, I had to pick up our customer service phone for our e-commerce business, and was helping this lady out, and I go, well, ma'am, you're asking all these things for us to do. You realize, what this is going to cost, and was going over all the pricing with her, and she goes, son, I didn't ask you what the price was. And I learned right then and there that not all the time that the customer's even worried about the price. But she, later in the call, said, hey, for what you guys do, you're underpriced as far as I'm concerned. And she literally helped us raise our prices 7 to 8% that year. So it's just a good story, and it's something that it certainly wasn't expecting. Hearing from our own customers to raise prices.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love how customers can be open and honest like that, and it's good to be listening to what they're saying so we can make adjustments.
Absolutely.
What would you say would make a bad entrepreneur? Is there any characteristics or things you've seen over the years?
Absolutely. I would say the one that really doesn't take care of their customers, I would say that's number one.
Yeah.
Taking care of your customers is the absolute most important thing that a business owner can do. What's interesting, PricewaterhouseCoopers literally came out with a stat not too long ago that 42% of consumers are willing to pay a higher price for a premium service. And it's the Chick-fil-A way of doing things. If you watch Chick-fil-A employees, they're the first and foremost is to take care of you and to make sure you're happy. And that really, really does say a lot. But another thing that makes for a bad entrepreneur is unrealistic expectations. Going into a venture thinking that, or assuming, which is the worst business word that you could actually use ever, you assume that things are going to go a certain way. When you become an entrepreneur, it's basically time to put the seatbelt on and be ready for all the different pivots and ways that you have to go. Allowing to, basically being emotionally really hard to explain, but being emotionally inept regarding their judgment and procrastination. Those are two things that you've got to be great at, and just be able to ignore problems and be able to conquer them.
That's really good. Very helpful. So tell us, how did you assemble your teams for all your businesses? I know you gave a little pointers on that. Do you have any other thing you want to add to that area?
Well, yeah, it's simple for me, and I look at it as always you hire your weaknesses. I hired around my personal weaknesses early on. I hired around the weaknesses of some of my other staff.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to fill those gaps in.
Mm.
The greatest thing as far as with hiring is concerned is not to settle. There are a lot of people out there. I've heard, since, the COVID years, there's so many people who don't want to work today. There are people out there that definitely want to work and definitely want to be a part of a startup or entrepreneurial atmosphere. So
Yeah.
you just got to look and you got to put your head down and
That's good. And what quality do you think every entrepreneur should possess? Is there one that you're like, this is really key to have?
yeah, it's really hard for me to say one quality,
Mm. There's
but
several.
there's several. And, the first and foremost, and it's overused, but it's so true, and that's passion.
Mm.
But I've changed passion over the years and basically replaced it with a no matter what attitude. If I ever finish my book, the title of that book is going to be No Matter What. And that's coming with resilience and grit, adaptability, the willingness to pivot, leadership qualities, problem solving qualities, having a clear vision, persuasion skills that goes along with your sales and marketing, and then of
Yeah.
course strong execution and work ethic.
Those are all good. I could see that. What would you say are some habits that help make you successful over the years?
Absolutely, the best habits is consistency.
Mm.
Leadership, execution, all that goes with it. Customer care, financials, all that's very important, but you got to be consistent in those areas. I would think there's two things that every entrepreneur needs to fight for, and that's validity and credibility.
Mm.
And if you're consistent in the key areas and the attributes that really make you not only a strong person, but a strong entrepreneur, you can be very successful.
That's very good. Well, Scott, thank you so much for being on today. This was very interesting and educational, and I just hope everybody has a great week.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on the list.
Glad to have you.